Americans pay $3.3 billion a year for eye supplements. The number one ingredient in every single bottle is a flower that grows in a pot for $2. Someone has been charging you $67 for a marigold. Today, you find out who and how to grow it yourself and never pay for it again.
But before I show you who, I need to show you something about that bottle that your eye doctor does not know. Most people have no idea their vision is being quietly damaged every single day. Not from some rare disease, from ordinary life. Your eyes have a built-in protection layer sitting right over the most sensitive part of your retina. Think of it like a pair of sunglasses that live inside your eye. They filter the high-energy light hitting your retina from your phone, your laptop, and the sun, before it can burn through to the cells underneath. That layer is made of two things your body cannot produce on its own. You have to eat them. And most Americans are not eating nearly enough. When that layer gets thin, the damage underneath starts. And once it starts, it does not reverse. The leading cause of permanent vision loss in adults over 50 in this country is not cataracts. It is damage to that exact layer. Over 3 million Americans are living with it right now. The National Institutes of Health ran the largest eye nutrition study in history to find out what could protect it. They found that people with the lowest levels of these two compounds who started replenishing them reduced their risk of serious vision loss by 26%. That finding alone built a $3.3 billion supplement industry. And the compound at the center of it, inside almost every bottle on the shelf, is a marigold petal. And the company behind it? They have been operating in Iowa for decades, counting on you never making the connection. Let me show you exactly who they are. There is a company called Kemin Industries, Des Moines, Iowa. Kemin grows marigolds at commercial scale. They extract the protective compound from the petals. They brand it Flora GLO and sell it to the supplement companies you trust. Preservision, Okivit, most of the store brands. They all trace back to the same marigold fields in Iowa. Here is the part that stopped me cold. The National Institutes of Health study your eye doctor references, the one printed on the side of that bottle, was run using Kemin's Flora GLO as the lutein ingredient. The government study that gave this entire industry its credibility was conducted using an extract from a $2 flower. The flower that you can grow yourself. The flower that has been growing in American gardens for centuries. The gap between what it costs to grow and what you are paying at the pharmacy is not an accident. It is a business model. Orange Tagates erecta seeds, $2 a packet. We are going to walk through exactly how to grow this. But first, the history of how this flower disappeared. Because what happened is not what you would expect. I spent weeks trying to find the exact moment when this plant was removed from mainstream medicine. And what I found, or rather, what I could not find, tells you everything about how this industry works. In 1891, right here in the American medical record, a physician writing in a medical journal called the marigold, one of the most valuable medicines in existence for cuts and wounds. He told readers to grow it themselves. Civil War field surgeons used it, both sides. It is in the military records. Then in 1910, the Flexner Report restructured American medicine from the ground up. Commissioned by the Carnegie Foundation and the American Medical Association, it pushed out every school that taught plant-based medicine. It standardized everything around pharmaceutical compounds. To understand what that actually meant in practice, consider what was lost alongside the marigold. Lobelia inflata, used for centuries for respiratory conditions, was removed. Phytolacca americana, used for lymphatic support, disappeared. Echinacea, now a billion-dollar immune supplement, was once a standard preparation any pharmacist could compound from dried plant material for pennies. Valerian root, used for centuries as a sleep aid, was pushed out of official medicine entirely. None of these plants were removed because trials showed they caused harm. They were removed because the new medical economy had no place for something that grew in a field and could not be owned. The physicians who lost their practices in this period did not stop believing in what they knew. They simply had no institution left to practice within. Their knowledge was not disproven. It was defunded. And the difference between those two things is the entire story of how a $2 flower became a $67 bottle. Compounds that could be patented, compounds that could be owned. A marigold cannot be patented. Nobody can own it, so nobody funded research on it. Nobody taught it in medical schools. Nobody put it on a shelf with a clinical-sounding name. What they did instead was extract the compound from the flower, brand it FloraGLO, run it through a government study, and build a billion-dollar market around something that grows in your front yard. I went looking for the specific meeting where this happened. The vote, the names, the documented reason. There is no record, no hearing transcript, no named committee. The plant just stopped being recorded at exactly the moment patented medicine became the only medicine that mattered. The absence of that record is itself the answer. If it bothers you that something this accessible was quietly buried, not because it failed, but because it could not be owned, hit like right now, so more people find this video. Here is what you actually need to know about eating this flower. The compound in the marigold petal, lutein, is the exact same thing the supplement industry extracts, concentrates, and puts in a capsule. Same compound, same source. The only difference is the $67 bottle. So a 2024 study had people consume lutein from marigold extract every day for 2 months. Within 15 days, their blood levels were 2.4 times higher than when they started. Those levels held steady through the full 60 days. The researchers concluded that daily lutein from marigold raised blood levels to ranges linked with lower risk of serious eye disease. Now, here is the one thing you cannot skip. Lutein needs fat to be absorbed. That is just how it works in your body. Eating dried petals alone does very little. Eating them with eggs, olive oil, or avocado. That is when your body can actually use them. The supplement softgel has oil inside it for exactly this reason. When you eat the petals with fat, you are doing the same thing, without the $67 bottle. And here is one more thing before I show you how to grow this. Something about that bottle you need to know before you ever buy it again. Researchers independently tested 48 lutein supplement products sold in stores. Only 7 of the 48 contained the amount of lutein stated on the label. Nearly 60% were rated unsatisfactory. So you are paying $67 for an extract that may not even deliver what the label promises. When you grow this yourself, you know exactly what you have. Nothing removed, nothing diluted, nothing mislabeled. And if you are still buying supplements in the meantime, here is what to look for on the label before you spend a single dollar. Third-party tested means an independent laboratory verified the contents before the product went to market. Look for seals from NSF International, USP, or Informed Sport. These are not perfect systems, but they are the only external check that exists on what is actually inside the bottle. Look for the specific milligram amount of lutein listed separately, not just as part of a proprietary blend. A proprietary blend is a legal way to hide how little of each ingredient is actually present. If the label says proprietary blend and lists lutein somewhere inside it, you have no idea how much lutein you are actually getting. Look for the word FloraGLO, specifically. That is Kemen's branded extract. It is the ingredient that was used in the clinical trials. If the label does not name the source of the lutein, the manufacturer is not telling you where it came from. And understand this clearly. Even with all of those checks, nearly 60% of products still failed independent testing. The label is a promise. It is not a guarantee. The only guarantee is the flower you grow yourself. And there is one step in growing this that almost nobody knows about. Skip it, and you get 20 flowers all season. Do it, and you get hundreds. I will show you exactly what it is in a moment. Here is everything you need. The variety. Orange Tagetes erecta, the tall variety, not the small French marigolds at every garden center, and not yellow. Orange, tall, Tagetes erecta. Seeds are available from any heirloom seed supplier online for about $2 a packet. That is the only thing you need to buy. When to plant? After your last frost. Southern California and warm climates, February through April. Colder climates, late April through May. Frost kills these plants when they are young. After that, they are tough. Soil and container. Basic potting mix. Any container with drainage holes. A 12-inch pot works for one plant. A 5-gallon bucket is better. Do not add fertilizer. Nitrogen pushes the plant toward leaves and away from flowers. You want flowers. Leave the soil alone. Planting. Press seeds 1/2 inch into moist soil. Keep the surface moist. Seeds sprout in 4 to 7 days. Once seedlings reach 3 inches, they manage themselves. Watering. Deep water, once or twice a week. Let the top inch of soil dry between waterings. The only real mistake you can make with these plants is overwatering. Now, the secret step. The one that changes everything. When a flower finishes blooming, pull it off. All of it. Do not leave spent heads on the plant. When you remove a finished flower, the plant reads it as unfinished work. It produces another flower to replace it. Then another. Then another. One plant that is never dead-headed gives you 20 flowers all season. One plant that is consistently dead-headed gives you 200. 200 flower heads. From a $2 packet of seeds. Harvesting. Pull the petals off by hand. Spread them in a single layer on a screen or paper towel, out of direct sunlight. Good airflow. Fully dry in 2 to 3 days. You will know they are ready when they crumble slightly between your fingers. Seal dried petals in a glass jar away from light and heat. Good for 12 months. Using them. 1 tablespoon of dried petals per day. Always with fat. Scrambled into eggs while they are still cooking. Stirred into salad dressing with olive oil. Blended into a smoothie with avocado. The fat is not optional. It is how the compound gets from your food into your bloodstream. Here are 5 more ways to work dried marigold petals into your daily routine without changing how you eat. Stir them into warm bone broth. The fat in the broth carries the lutein exactly the same way olive oil does. A morning cup of broth with a tablespoon of dried petals is one of the simplest delivery methods there is. Add them to homemade salad dressing. 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, a pinch of salt, and a tablespoon of dried petals. Shake it in a jar. That dressing on any salad is a complete lutein delivery system. Mix them into full-fat yogurt with a drizzle of olive oil or a few slices of avocado. The fat in the yogurt helps, but adding a small amount of additional fat improves absorption significantly. Blend them into a soup base with olive oil added before serving. Sprinkle them over roasted vegetables finished with butter or olive oil. The rule is always the same. Fat present, lutein absorbed. No fat, very little benefit. Every single flower head on that plant is another $67 you are not spending. Now, let me show you the actual number. Because when I ran the math on what you have been spending versus what this costs to grow, it made me genuinely angry. Preservision AREDS2 costs between $50 and $70 for a 90-day supply. The active ingredient is lutein and zeaxanthin, sourced from Kemen's marigold fields, Flora GLO on the inside, a branded bottle on the outside. A $2 packet of Tagetes erecta seeds produces enough flowers in 1 season to fill that jar, and keep filling it. You are not paying for the lutein when you buy that bottle. You are paying for the extraction, the encapsulation, the branding, the clinical sounding name. The decades of institutional momentum that made sure you never thought to grow the flower yourself. And now, nearly 60% of those bottles do not even deliver what they promise on the label. The flower always worked. You just were never supposed to know it. The National Institutes of Health study confirmed that consistently replenishing your eye's protective layer reduces your risk of serious vision loss. The source of that protection for the entire supplement industry is the orange marigold flower, the same flower American physicians were recommending in 1891. The same one that disappeared from mainstream medicine, not because it failed, but because nobody could own it. You can grow it in a pot on your porch. You can dry the petals in 3 days. You can add them to your eggs every morning. You do not need the bottle. If this changed how you think about what you have been paying for, share it with one person who is still paying for it. Subscribe so you do not miss what comes next. Sources for everything cited today are linked in the description.